Hello everyone, welcome to the brand new lectures in physics. So this is Ganesh, a faculty in physics. So the main motto of these lectures are to improve the knowledge of the student in physics from the basic level to the advanced level in physics. So now, generally what is meant by physics? Generally it is a branch of science. Science is nothing but study of nature, and physics is the branch of science which is used to study the non-biological nature, that means without having any life. So generally physics is derived from a Greek word called physis, which is called nature. So how to study the nature? So generally this study of nature will start from a newly born baby itself. How, sir? So a newly born baby, from the newly born baby, the children will always try to study the nature and investigate the things around them. They will try to hold the objects, they will try to keep it in their mouth and try to throw it out, outside. So like that they will try to investigate all the things around them. So if that zeal or enthusiasm continues in your life, you will become a scientist. So what is the process generally involved in this particular scientific study? So the steps involved in the scientific study is generally called as the scientific process. The science itself is a systematic knowledge of observations. So now, what are the steps involved in this scientific process? First of all, before studying anything, we need to observe the nature. So that means the first step involved in the scientific process is observation. So we need to observe the things with respect to time, with respect to the place, and with respect to the conditions, atmospheric conditions, etc. So after observation, we will just tabulate it in the form of a data, and then onwards we will prepare a theory regarding that particular nature. So after preparing the theory, we need to conduct some experiments to check whether our theory is correct or not. So that means verifying the theory through experimentation, a proper experimentation. So after the proper experimentation, we need to check whether the experimental result is matched with the theoretical result. So if the theoretical result and the experimental result is same, there is no modification. For example, if there is any clash in these two observations, we need to modify them. So that means the fourth and important step is the modification of the theory. So these are all the four important steps needed for a systematic scientific process. So now let us discuss about the concept of observation. So generally observation is broadly divided into two types. That is subject to observation and object to observation. So what is meant by subject to observation? So observation which will change from one person to other person is called as subject to observation. And the observation which will not change from one person to other person is called as object to observation. So how the observation changes from one person to other person? For example, if I am seeing this chalk piece holder, will the other person seeing another object instead of a chalk piece holder? No. So what is the subject to observation? So the subject to observation is related to the likes, dislikes, emotions, ideas, etc. So these are all not having any specific value. They cannot be measured actually. So they comes under subject to observation. And then what is meant by object to observation? It will not change from one person to other person, right? So if I am taking the same chalk piece holder like this, if I calculated the length of this particular chalk piece holder using a scale, let us suppose the value of this chalk piece is 7 centimeters. Will it change from one person to other person? If other person calculated it, will it become 10 centimeters or 15 centimeters? It's purely impossible, right? So these type of observations which will not change from one person to other person is called objective observation. So let us take an example of a mobile phone. So what are the subjective observations there? So if you take a mobile phone, someone may feel that it is nice, the camera is nice, okay, it is good, the processor is nice, okay, so the photos are nice. So like that, they will just feel like that. So these are all called subjective observations. Like color and camera, whatever it may be. What are the objective observations there? So what is the capacity of the camera? How many megapixel camera is this? So how many cores are there in the processor? Is it a quad core or an octa core? And what is the frequency? And what is the refresh rate? So these are all comes under objective observations. Okay. So here the quantities which are useful to study these objective observations are called as physical quantities. So these physical quantities plays a vital role in physics. So these are very much useful in preparing the laws in physics, rules in physics, and the theories in physics. So the physical quantity is generally having a format. So what is that? So it is a format of having a numerical value followed by a unit. A numerical value followed by a unit. But this is not the basic format, because there are some physical quantities which are having a numerical value but they may not contain a unit. The example for this is refractive index, which you will study in the chapter of light. And there may be some physical quantities which are having numerical value as well as unit also. And there are some physical quantities which are having numerical value, unit as well as the direction also. So these are all some of the categories related to a physical quantity. So now generally if you observe, the numerical value of any physical quantity is inversely proportional to the unit. So n is proportional to 1 by u. So how can you explain this? Let us suppose we all know that 1 kg is equal to 1000 grams. 1 kg is equal to 1000 grams. If you observe here, the value of kg is somewhat more than the value of grams, right? So here the value of kg is more, that's why the numerical value, okay, behind this kg is less. And the value of gram is less, that's why the numerical value behind this will be more. So that means if the value of the unit decreases, the numerical value increases. And if the value of the unit increases, the numerical value will decrease. So this is the concept of a physical quantity. And in the next class, we'll study about how to measure the physical quantity and what are the important rules and regulations, okay, to take a unit into consideration. Okay, we'll discuss all these things in the next class. And if you like my sincere effort, please follow LSS rule, that is like, share and subscribe. Thank you so much.